Hey guys, Darkovika here, and I'm going to be late to this whole Halloween jazz. It's October, and I haven't done any Halloween-themed videos. Small update, my new quarter has started. I have 4 classes. Just so you guys know, they're all 4 hours each, and each day that I have those classes is pretty much a 14-hour day. So I had to sort of reacclimate and realize no, recording during the week is not gonna happen. So now that I'm recording at the time where I should be recording, i.e. the weekend, I figured I'd start this off with some Halloween vlogging. As you guys know, October is one of the coolest months of the year, at least for most of us on the internet. It's the time of Halloween and spooky things and Samhain. I'm not pronouncing that right, don't hate me. And October is my favorite month of all time. I love the colors, I love this time of year, it's my favorite time. I actually have, my hair is all over my face, it's absolutely great, you're gonna see me move it a lot. I'm going to be giving some tips this year for safety. Number one thing people like to do every year, which I find very silly and very dangerous, is the Ouija board. And for those that don't know what the Ouija board is, it's also known as the fortune board, actually, I don't know. Spirit board. There we go. I think those are the 2 main names that it also goes by. It's those boards that has a yes, a no, letters, and then a number, and then you use a planchette. It differs with which board you use. Some people say you use your pinky. Some people say you use your index finger. The point is, it's used to contact the spirit realm. First of all, my greatest piece of advice to you, don't do it. It's no me gusta. I'm not a... Yeah, we'll get to this in a second, but just my best piece of advice to you, don't do it. Don't touch the Ouija board. A Ouija board can be made out of anything. What people don't realize is that it's not the board that makes it what it is. I mean, you can buy a Ouija board literally at Toys R Us. You can buy it at Target, Hot Topic. They're everywhere. I've seen people make them out of cardboard and use bottle caps as planchettes. It's literally super easy to get a Ouija board. What a Ouija board is made out of is energy. How you contact the spirit realm is through combining your energy, the people at the table, and basically saying to the spirit realm, hey, here's this energy pool, use it to pretty much do whatever you want. Doesn't sound safe, does it? That's because it's not. The Ouija board is not controllable. It's never in your hands. You are never in control. No one ever is. Anyone who thinks they are is probably going to be in for a very scary shock at least once in their life. I've had a bad experience. There's a video on my channel about it. All you gotta know is an experience happened where we were playing the Ouija board on Halloween and a ghost came through that my friends could not possibly know about because I'd never told them about it. And it was a ghost that actually had lived at our house before we moved in, and she got very violent, and it was very distressing and very disturbing, and it ended with me pretty much throwing the Ouija board in one direction and the planchette in the other. So I am a very big naysayer against Ouija boards, but if I cannot dissuade you from using a Ouija board, what I can do is give you tips and tricks on how to at least try to stay safe. It's kind of like what they say in school. The safest is to just not do it. Really is. But if you're going to use a Ouija board, the number one thing you need to look out for is when a spirit tries to create a portal. There are several different ways, but the 2 ways that I know the most of, and I'm not a professional, please do not take my word as like the only things you need to be careful of. If a planchette starts going in circles, either one direction or the other, if it just starts going in circles, I mean, freaking take that planchette and throw it across the room, burn the board. If it starts trying to count backwards from 0 to 1, throw the planchette across the room, burn the board. If it starts trying to do the alphabet backwards, I think that's also another way that it tries to make a portal. The more you believe in it, the stronger the spirit is. Demons feed off of fear, so the more afraid you are, the angrier and more violent the spirit could become. Because you're basically becoming weaker and letting them become stronger over you. If something does happen, the Ouija board is basically the physical entity for whatever comes through. I know one method of keeping demons and or spirits at bay is to put the board underwater and just keep it underwater. It has to be pure water. It doesn't need to be holy. Holy water, in my opinion, doesn't really work if you're not of the faith, but feel free to use it, especially if you believe it's going to work. Faith is everything in all of this. Basically, you can keep the board underwater, and supposedly that will keep the spirit in check. That may not be a permanent fix. The last fix that it's like a 90% chance success. If it doesn't work, you're pretty much out of luck because you've just burned your only connection to the demon. You want to burn the Ouija board with salt, I think. Straight up supernatural. Pour some purified salt or whatever on it. Set the thing on fire and pretty much ring of salt around the fire. All that good stuff. Demonology. There's my tips and tricks about a Ouija board. The other thing I wanted to talk about that would be kind of cool is my connection to things that are mystical. Woo. So I've done the Ouija board before, as you can kind of figure out. We accidentally summoned a spirit once in our old home. We were just kind of using the Ouija board, me and my sister, like, for fun. We accidentally got a spirit in the house, and she was not happy. We didn't know who she was. I was like 13. I had no idea how to figure out who the spirit was. But I remember reading online that sometimes if a spirit enters your home, if you don't know who the spirit is, it can get very angry and very resentful, and that will sometimes be why it starts doing poltergeist activity and why it starts getting really vengeful and violent. So I also read that giving the ghost an identity can sometimes calm it down, depending on the spirit. Spirits are like people. It's not a every single time fix all. So we basically stood in front of a fireplace, held hands, and we're like, we are so sorry we brought you here. We did not mean it. I'm like 13. She's like 8. But welcome to the family. We seriously would love to welcome you here, just so long as you're not violent and mean. And we name you Beethoven. And literally all the poltergeist activity stopped. So, I mean, it worked for us. Beethoven was a member of our family for a really long time until we found out her real identity, which was Donna. But that's a whole other story. Now, things are about to get really weird. I've been kind of wanting to share this with you guys for a while, and it's been really weird for me. I am extremely open-minded, but this is about to get a little odd for those of you who might be really religious. That's totally fine. I was raised very Catholic, but I was also raised very open-minded. I am a user of tarot cards. It's a 52 deck. This is not a normal deck. This is not like a normal tarot deck. This is basically like a rewrite. There's steampunk versions of a tarot deck, so like this says, I don't know if you can see this, but it says Navigator of Leviathans instead of, I think it's supposed to be like a Ace of something wind related. It's still like fire, earth, wind, and water, but it's very steampunk, and the meanings of the cards are very different. But I've always been into this kind of stuff, and in middle school I picked up tarot cards, and this was the other section of the tips and tricks that I was going to hand out for those of you who might be more spiritually inclined and not have issues with this. With tarot cards, they're a little more easy to control, which is why I do not feel bothered using tarot cards. Be wary of picking up books that are all you ever need to know about tarot cards, because first of all, this area is not scientific. There is no math. There's no rules here. This is a completely imprecise art. There's no proof to be had. It is entirely spiritual. If you ask me in the comments below to prove to you why I believe that this is real, I would not be able to, and I'm totally okay with being able to admit that. There's no way. But in my heart, I feel that it is true. And like I said, in this area, belief is everything. My very first deck of cards, tarot cards, I had a dragon deck. So there were dragons on this part of the deck. And my dragon deck was very special to me. It was my first deck. Unfortunately, I was like 11 when I bought this thing. And I did not understand that there are some things that are meant to be sort of like sacred guidelines, not necessarily rules. As a general rule of thumb, you are never supposed to do tarot card readings for yourself. However, there are tarot card spreads and several what's the word I'm looking for? Exercises that you can do to basically allow yourself to do readings for yourself, because some readings are actually meant to be done for you. This deck, this particular deck, was created by some people who basically included several spreads and terms that were supposed to be like, if you're doing this for yourself, this is what this means. So this deck is a little more used to doing it for me. Now, the reason behind that, insofar that I can feel, because from my first deck I was not careful, your state of mind can very heavily affect your deck. Your deck is essentially a spirit. I wouldn't say you're binding a spirit to this, but you basically are. It's like a Ouija board. You're basically making a contract with a deck, and you're saying, I want to enter a contract with you. I want to be partners. And if you're not in a very positive, happy place with your mentality, things are gonna get a little iffy with your deck. The spirit's gonna be a little erratic. Your readings might get dark depending on your mentality, and it's not gonna be easy to control. Now, because it's not like the cards can lay themselves out in like a specific position, they can't really, there's no portals that I've ever heard of that can be created with tarot cards. It's mostly Ouija boards. That's why I don't touch them. With these guys though, I don't know, my first deck got really inky with its energy and its aura, and I ended up just ditching the thing. It was a goodbye. I feel disconnected from that deck. But it definitely got dirty in a sense, and some readings just felt very wrong. Like, I would be doing readings, especially when they were for myself. I started to realize, you know, I don't think I'm okay with this, and that was when I stopped doing readings. I got this deck, and when I made my binding with this one, it wasn't like I sat and did a ritual with it. Let me just say that right now. I wasn't like incense everywhere. I just kind of bought it and went, you, me, we're buddies now. And the deck was like, sweet. And that's literally how I can describe this deck's energy. It's just consistently positive. Every time I think of the deck, it's like a boost in my happiness, and whatever is connected to this deck is just a very happy spirit, and it's very friendly, and I have no issue doing readings for myself or for other people. You really have to feel your way with this stuff. So I guess the point of this vlog is to sort of explain to you guys that this stuff is really not something that you should mess with, especially if you believe in it. If you're just sort of feeling your way, it's not going to be as effective if you do something wrong. But if you really believe this stuff is real, really research it, because your energy and your lack of understanding could really mess you up and really get you into trouble. Like I said though, if you ever go this route with tarot cards or oracle cards, they have an entity. They become a living thing. I wouldn't say breathing, but they become a spirit. So you have to really treat them with respect, and if you're going to commit, you better commit, because the deck will know when you're starting to leave it, and it's gonna leave you, pretty much. So just be aware. Those are my rules of the trade for October, and I want you guys to be safe with all of the things you pick up. Witchcraft, in my opinion, is pretty much never okay, because it always involves some really janky stuff. But I mean, I have a friend who's Wiccan, so he sort of picks and chooses what he's okay with doing. So like I said, do what you do, but be safe. Always be safe. Always do research and look into how to protect yourself should something go wrong. If you decide to do the Ouija board, please don't. Be prepared. Have some crosses on hand. Have some holy water, especially if you believe in that faith. If you don't, have some different symbols from different religions so that you have a more well-rounded experience, because they will have weaker effects, at least in my opinion. Like I said, I have never been taught by anybody. This is just stuff that I have experienced and stuff that I've learned from experience. There is no right and there is no wrong. The worst thing you can tell someone who's in this sort of section of this world is that they're wrong, because that's incorrect. There's no such thing as right or wrong. It's not a science. There's no A plus B equals C. There's none of that. It's A plus B equals whatever you want it to equal. So I have a book with the meanings of these cards, but the way tarot is supposed to work is that you're supposed to sort of look at the cards and the cards tell you what they mean. You have to listen to yourself on the inside. I'm a bit too practical for that, so I do actually rely on the book a lot. A lot of tarot readers frown upon that, and they kind of look down on it, so there you go. But yeah, there you go. There's my little October vlog, and be safe tips and tricks. Remember, be safe. Don't do anything stupid, please. Don't go summoning demons. It's really not that fun. It's really, don't do that. No. So be safe. I love you all very much. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I had a lot of fun with it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.